All right, today we are diving headfirst into a timeline that is, well, it's famously tangled, it's absolutely terrifying, and let's be honest, completely unhinged. It's become a gaming legend for a reason. We're talking about the complete lore of Five Nights at Freddy's. So, yeah, you heard it. Strap in. This story is an absolute wild ride. We're talking a full decade of killer animatronic lore that twists, it turns, and somehow it just keeps getting weirder and weirder. So, let's just get right into it. And that really is the central question here, isn't it? How does a simple kid's pizza place, with singing bears and birthday parties, spiral into this epic saga of murder, ghosts, and just deranged science? To figure that out, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning. Okay, Section 1, Pizza, Pals, and a Problem. It all started with two dads and a dream. And believe it or not, this whole nightmare kicks off with just two guys, William Afton and Henry Emily. They had this dream, right? Build some giant robot animals, open up a pizza place for kids called Fredbear's Family Diner. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? So their big innovation was these things called springlock suits. And they were this bizarre hybrid, part animatronic, part wearable costume. The problem? They were incredibly dangerous. And this is where our main villain, William Afton, decides to make a little career pivot from pizzeria owner to, let's just say, serial killer and amateur soul scientist. Yeah, and that little career change leads him to this dark obsession with something called remnant. Just think of it as soul juice. It's the tangible essence of a spirit. Afton becomes convinced that if he can just harness this stuff, he can literally become immortal. And this one single twisted obsession, it becomes the engine for all the horror that follows. The consequences of Afton's dark turn, well, they're immediate and they are devastating. First, his own son is tragically killed in an accident involving one of the animatronics. Then, in a truly monstrous move, Afton murders his own partner, Henry's daughter, Charlotte. But her story doesn't end with her death. Her soul possesses this animatronic called the puppet, and she becomes this vengeful guardian, totally determined to protect other kids from the same fate. All right, moving on to the Haunted franchise. And yeah, the business model is evolving like a Pokemon, but worse. So after that first diner closes, you'd think they'd just stop, right? Nope. The franchise expands into the now infamous Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And at this point, the hauntings, they're not just some tragic accident anymore. They're becoming a terrifying feature of the brand itself. And that quote, "Build a bear for vengeance," that's honestly not an exaggeration. This becomes the core mechanic of the hauntings. As Afton keeps up his killing spree, the puppet literally takes the souls of his victims and stuffs them into the main animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Voxy. She's giving them a body, a vessel, to seek their revenge. Then we get to a landmark year in this whole twisted story, 1987. At a new Freddy's location, the infamous Bite of 87 happens. An animatronic literally takes a chump out of a security guard's frontal lobe. Yeah. This is the moment the world realizes these pizza places aren't just kind of weird, they're actively deadly. So, a twisted family business. Afton is just doubling down on his mad scientist thing here. I mean, does he lay low after all of this? Of course not. He doubles down, and he opens Afton Robotics. And this time it's not about entertaining kids. It is about creating sophisticated, sinister machines designed for one single purpose: murder. And this is such a crucial distinction to make. The original animatronics, right? They were haunted by accident. They were possessed by these vengeful spirits. But these new fun-time animatronics? Oh no. They were built from the ground up specifically to be killing machines. The malice isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's part of the design. And pretty soon, Afton's evil starts to consume his own family. His daughter, Elizabeth, is killed by one of his own creations, Circus Baby, and her soul possesses it. Then his son Michael goes to investigate, and he gets scooped. His insides are literally torn out and replaced, and his body is used as a skin suit by the other animatronics. It's horrible, but miraculously, Michael's spirit hangs on, and he vows to find his father and end this nightmare for good. Okay, on to Section 4, Burning It All Down. And seriously, this man's respawn timer is insane. This brings us to the many attempts to finally get rid of William Afton. Because as you're about to see,
The man simply refuses to stay dead. So eventually, the spirits of the children Afton murdered finally corner him, and in a total panic, he dives inside one of those old, super faulty spring lock suits. Huge mistake. The locks fail, they snap shut, and they crush him inside. But here's the twist. It doesn't actually kill him. It just transforms him into this monstrous, walking corpse robot hybrid we know as Springtrap.
I love this quote. All right, I'm done letting this man ruin public safety. After years of just absolute horror, Afton's original partner, Henry Emily, he comes back, and he has had enough. He hatches this super elaborate plan to gather every last haunted piece of their legacy into one single place so that he can destroy it all, once and for all. So Henry builds this new pizzeria, but it's not a pizzeria, it's a trap. A perfect trap. And one by one, he lures in every last piece of this haunted puzzle. You've got Springtrap, who is of course William Afton. You've got Scrap Baby, possessed by his daughter Elizabeth. Molten Freddy, who is the tangled mess of the other Funtime animatronics. And finally, the puppet, possessed by Henry's own daughter, Charlotte. Everyone's here.
Once they are all trapped inside, Henry locks the doors and sets the whole place on fire. His plan is to destroy the animatronics and finally free all the trapped souls, including his own, because he stays inside to burn with them. It's supposed to be the definitive final end to everything. But, with William Afton, nothing is ever that simple.
And that brings us to our final section, the Ghost in the Machine, or as I like to call it, Afton the Wi-Fi edition. Because of course, he comes back, but this time his evil evolves. It actually escapes the physical world and finds a brand new home in the digital realm.
I mean, just look at this guy's persistence. It's insane. He gets crushed into Springtrap, he survives one fire, he gets even more messed up in Henry's final inferno, but a single piece of his circuit board is salvaged from the wreckage. And from that one little piece, his consciousness is scanned into a computer, and his soul becomes a digital virus, this malevolent piece of code that we now call Glitchtrap. So now you have this digital ghost, Glitchtrap, haunting a virtual reality game that was actually created by a revived Fazbear Entertainment, because of course they came back. And from inside the game, Glitchtrap manages to infect the mind of a beta tester, creating a brand new real-world follower named Vanny to carry on his murderous legacy. Afton has literally found a way to cheat death itself. So, after all of that, what are the big takeaways? What's the moral of this entire epic saga? Well, honestly, it's some pretty solid life advice. As complex as it all is, it really just boils down to some pretty clear, simple warnings, all wrapped up in a terrifyingly fun package. And really, that's the truly haunting question this story leaves us with, isn't it? William Afton went from a man to a monster, then to a ghost, and finally to a piece of code. It suggests a whole new kind of horror for our digital age. What happens when evil becomes so persistent it can be copied, uploaded, and can never, ever truly be erased?